Hi, my name is Juan, and welcome to The Couch, a podcast where real therapists talk about real things. Please remember that we are therapists, but we are not your therapists, and this podcast is intended for educational purposes only.
Friend, listen closely. I'm gonna start off with this. Not everyone deserves access to you. All right? Not everyone deserves access to you. Man, I wish somebody would have told me that growing up and actually made it like a lesson. I think about raising my kids, and there's times where I look around and I think as parents, a lot of us probably do this same behavior. Our kid is nice and we say, "Good job, way to be nice, way to be kind," right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Fast forward, you're an adult, you're listening to this episode, and you find yourself in situations where you question, right? Was I too nice? Did I stand up for myself? Did I give this person too much access to me? Right? And I think there's space with accessibility, with boundaries that has to do with being nice. And that's what makes it tough, right? It makes it tough. I started by giving you that point of view of being a parent, because I believe that many of us, right? Many of us, we learned lessons early in life, and we learned them from our parents. We learned right from wrong, say thank you, say yes, sir, blah, 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 all that good stuff. And then we were adults, right? We're adults. We were working. We're functioning. We're doing the best that we can. Half time pretending that we know what we're doing, but we don't tell anybody that. We just keep on going. And you get into scenarios with people, and then you get home and you're like, oh, that didn't go well. And I think the question that needs to be asked is, does everyone need the same amount of access to me, right? Not everyone deserves access to you. And I think boundaries live within that space, and boundaries without guilt. So let me ask you something. Right now in your life, scan, look around. Who has access to you right now? Who has access, my friend, to you, to your time, to your energy, to your emotions? Right? And if you drew a circle and your circle had two other circles within it, and we're going to say that last circle, the smallest one in there, is the deepest level of access to you. Right? Is there a differentiation between who gets access to all those circles? These are often items that I'll bring up in a therapy session. Not many of us, including myself, are able to say, hey, yeah, I've learned really good lessons around here, right? This was a family discussion growing up. Instead the discussions were normally around like being nice, being kind, being supportive, which are all really, really strong areas for character development. Now that you have your answer, right, of who has access to you right now, something important I want you to look at. Have these select individuals earned access? Right? I mean, shit, that is something we got to highlight. Earned. I'll tell you something about me. Maybe it's why I am in this profession as a counselor. I will naturally become the helper. It's sometimes so interesting to me that I don't even need to know who the person is or what the situation is. There's like this little thing inside me that will just pop up and go, you could be of help here. Now it'll come up even if I have zero bandwidth. Right? And I have to like work with that continuously in life. Otherwise, right, my bandwidth goes away. And then next thing you know, I've supported somehow, and I feel some kind of guilt. One of the biggest reasons I find that we become drained, we become overwhelmed, we become emotionally exhausted. I'm tired, man, I'm tired. It's because we're not monitoring this space of accessibility. We're giving full access to X and Y people, to so many people who they haven't shown something. They haven't shown that they can handle it, that they have earned it. And it becomes so automatic for many of us when we give access to others, like riding a bike, you're not even thinking about it. And then bam, you crash and you go, how did I get here? Well, shit, I got here because of me, right? Yes, they were involved in the situation, but also because of me. So today I'm going to talk, you're going to listen. At times I wish the podcast had a bit more interactive note to it, but that's okay. We're going to talk about something that I believe that can completely change our life. Learning that not everyone deserves access, right, to you, my friend. That's such an important item there. Not everyone deserves access. And this is not from a position of mean or being cruel or any of those things, right? This is really founded in the threads of building a healthy, lasting relationship. What does access mean? Right? What does access mean? When I think about access, I think about my time, calls, emails, text availability. I think about my energy, right? My energy to listen, my energy to show up, my energy to be there to support. When I think about accessibility, I feel it in a space of vulnerability. So I think about, do I want to be vulnerable here with my feelings, with my issues, my struggles, etc.? Right? So access isn't just about If it's you and I, it's not just about me being able to reach you. That's just one aspect of access. It's about that real version of you. Right. And in the times when we give people so much of our real version, it's where it can lead to, did they earn it? I'm tired of them. Overwhelmed. I'm exhausted. All those. Access is not just about who can reach you. There's some signs I think are important that help us really identify, okay, am I in this space? Am I giving too much access in a way that's becoming hurtful to me? And here's some signs that we'll use the term overgiving, right? Or you're providing access in a way that doesn't hold a strong foundation. You feel drained. You feel drained, especially after those situations or interactions that just didn't go well. You say yes, and in the back of your mind, you're like, hell no. You're like, no, I don't want to do this. But you say yes, yes comes out. You don't fully tell the person what you want to say, You may want to say, look, that shit was rude. So instead, you say that's okay. You feel responsible. This is such a big one right here. I have to list these out as far as signs that we are giving too much access. We're overgiving. This is probably the top of my list. You're in the space where you feel responsible for other people's emotions. And that right there, write that down. I feel responsible for other people's emotions? And then if you do, you've got some evidence in front of you. Likely one of those is that you question and you really analyze interactions. And you do this to a point that you try to figure out, what exactly can I say so that this person does not become uneasy, right? They stay happy and stable. You're becoming responsible for their emotions. Last one, you're constantly, right? If there is a switch that says available, my shit is on 24/7, right? Even when you're drained, exhausted, tired, hurt. So then what happens? Well, from the clinical space, I'll share this with you. When I'm working with individuals that are overgiving, right? Accessibility hasn't really been developed effectively. It can be connected to people pleasing. It could be connected to fear of rejection, past wounds that may come from a relationship, a situation. It could be learned patterns, right? Maybe within the family system, right? So here's an example, right? You got Bob. I like Bob. Use him a lot in my examples. Bob, right? You got this dude, Bob, over there. And someone, right? We're going to think about Bob as someone who always answers the phone, right? Text, email. This dude is just answering everything that you need. Bob always shows up. Bob always listens. It could be 7 p.m., prime dinner time, right? Or if you're early, 5 p.m., whatever, you get it, prime dinner time. Bob will answer and take a call. But when Bob needs support, right, he looks around and it's just deserted, right? It's like a grocery store or a store during COVID, right? Where is everyone? There's no one there. So then, for Bob, I sit with Bob and I go, Bob, let me ask you something. You're showing up for so many people, and when you need support, I don't see anybody around. So I'm wondering, Bob, and look, listen for a moment. I want you to listen to this. If you relate at all to Bob, I want you to think about this and answer it truthfully. So I will say to Bob, these relationships, these people in your life, is it a connection? Is there a balance? Right? Because Bob, that's not connection. Bob, that's an imbalance. Not everyone deserves full access to you. That is the message I want you to take home. Write it down, put it in your pocket, put it on the screen of your phone. Not everyone deserves access to me, right? Access, like so many things in life, right, need to be earned. That's what makes relationships powerful, when two people consistently earn each other's trust and respect and admiration and love and consideration and all of those wonderful items, right? Access should be earned through what becomes the question. Well, I think many terms can be used here, and a few that stick out to me. Consistency, respect. Access should be earned through emotional safety, feeling safe with one another. Reciprocity. So we look at something, right? Here's an example. I have to be there for everyone, right? So that could be an example of I'm giving too much access, right? There's no balance to my access. And we switch that over. Here's the reframe, therapy words. I choose who I show up for and how much I give. Just imagine, and we'll close here with the episode, and this can go so much deeper. I want you to imagine the rest of your life. You pause for a moment, and then you keep that with you. You have situations, interactions, a text that comes in, an email, phone call, and you pause and you say, I choose who I show up for and how much I give. And then just see how those words themselves influence the decisions that you make. Accessibility. My friends, this between you and I is something that I'm continuing to work on. I'm continuing to work on accessibility. And within it is boundaries, is limits, and so many other important terms. My hope is that you were able to take a few nuggets away, apply this in life. If you enjoyed the episode, leave 5 stars, share it with a good friend. Say, hey, listen to this shit. You might like it. If you need some counseling support, if you're ready for that step, reach out. Santos Counseling, we're located in the wonderful Greensboro area. If you're anywhere in North Carolina, we can do remote therapy to anyone there in that area. Reach out, visit us. Be happy, more than happy to support in any way that we can. I will see you, my friend, in the next episode.